Alright, this is Rick from R&M Reviews. Today I'm going to be doing my full review of the iHybrid Hellraiser. Now, to start off, huge thanks to my buddy Jamie J.C. West for sending me his Hellraiser, I should say. Really good guy, does some really solid reviews. I'm going to post a annotation to his channel, as well as I'll shout him out in my description, but definitely check it out. Does some great Genesis reviews and tutorials. But alright, on to the iHybrid. So, this is the iHybrid Hellraiser LE from iHybridmods.com, and you can also get it at 310vapors.com. I believe the device retails from the ballpark of $220. They are, I believe, the only regularly available hybrid on the market right now, and I guess to top it off, they, in my opinion, are the best hybrid on the market right now. Though best is a subjective term, I should say. They are, in my opinion, the hardest hitting hybrids on the market. I've tried a good handful of them. The Zen, Standard, AYS, the Orion V2.1, Katanas, or the two major revisions. A handful of others, but none of them hit quite like the iHybrid. All brass contacts, anodized aluminum body. This one in particular, because it is the limited edition, has some very slick engravings and some nice art on the tank cover. Let's see if that'll load. There we go. It says Abyssus Krigo, which I take it as Latin for Hellraiser. Got the nice skull right here. That does have the iHybrid logo in there, and the bottom pentagram with the iHybrid logo. This is the updated button, so it does not have a lock, though in my experience I found that it is totally pocket friendly. I really have nothing negative to say about the device. The cutouts on the tank cover are a little sharp. Whatever. The button, I do have pretty big hands, so it can be a little tough to get my finger in the right placement there without kind of catching on the edges. My one issue that actually is kind of a problem is that the top cap does have the adjustable throat hit, but yes, the drawback there is that the top cap kind of wobbles a little unless you keep it, or you keep the O-ring that secures it totally dry. Just gotta maintain your shit. If you're gonna spend $200+ on a device, that shouldn't be an issue for most of you. But overall, couldn't be happier. Overall machining quality, top notch. Vapor production on a scale of 1 to 10, and that is, I guess my frame of reference for all of these ratings will be against the other hybrids that I've tried, so the Genesis, the Standard and the OIS, the Orion V2.1, and the Katanas, let's say. Vapor production, I'm going to go with a solid 9 out of 10. Flavor, solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. Because the wick is uninsulated, the flavor of the Katana and the Zen I found to be a little bit better, but a well oxidized wick and a nicely wrapped coil, not really going to tell much of a difference. And throat hit, solid 9.5 out of 10. Throat hit is surprisingly warm on these, though mind you, I'm running an extremely low resistance coil right now. It's right at, I think, 0.5 ohms, 3.2 wrap of 26 gauge, so obviously all three of those major categories are going to be contingent upon your current wick, coil, and juice setup. So those are just my ratings so far from my experience with it. Take them for what you will, but the bottom line is that I'm extremely happy with the iHybrid. My really biggest problem with it is that I'm going to have to go out and buy one myself because I have to send this back to Jamie, but I think Faceless really hit a home run with this device and the new button design. I know in the past he has had some slight issues here and there with it, but really clever, really creative. Take a couple of quick drags, and then I will go into a full breakdown of the entire device to show off pretty much everything from head to toe. But here you go. Oof. That's it. Now into the full breakdown. Alright, for starters, here is the top cap of the iHybrid Hellraiser. Now, the first thing that I'll cover here is the iHybrid LE drip tip. It's a nice stainless steel drip tip, very similar to the Caravella drip tips, with a extremely deep engraving of the iHybrid logo right here. Now, the iHybrid LE drip tip does come with all of the iHybrid limited editions, not just the Hellraiser, but there it is. Next up is the top cap itself, and again, some more really beautiful, extremely deep engravings. You can see the air hole here. It does have a nice beveled air hole. I believe it is either 1/16 of an inch or 3/64. The draw is on the looser side, but not quite as loose as a Genesis. A little bit looser than a stock did, but I'd say it's a really nice medium, really nice draw. And then obviously it does have the rounded chamfered edge on the top, which is a nice aesthetic touch. As you can see, the machining is extremely clean, no burrs, no really noticeable flaws where the mill slipped or anything. It does have that very slight bevel on the lower edge of the top cap for when it sits on the O-ring. It's relatively small vapor chamber. I'd say it's definitely smaller than that of the Genesis, a little right about the same as it did. Obviously larger than say a Mini did or a Hellfire Mini, but still for a 18 650, 500, 350 series mod, or Atomizer intended for a mod or hybrid, it is on the smaller side, which is nice. So that's pretty much it for the top cap. There you go. Alright, next up here we have what's really the heart of the device. This is the tank and atomizer assembly. So from top to bottom, featured here, this is the tight draw screw, as you can see. It is an Allen head thumb screw. And the idea is that this sits a little bit higher up in the vapor chamber, closer to the bore of the top cap, to tighten the draw a tiny bit. I don't notice a huge difference between this and the standard top screw, which is right here, which is just a normal Phillips head, same as the ground screw. But I've just been using this. I kind of like it. And again, don't really notice a huge difference, but as far as positive posts go, setup is really easy on the entire post assembly. It sets up, I'd say, similarly to just about any generic Genesis atomizer. Wick hole, the distance between the edge of the wick to the positive terminal is relatively close, which is always nice. Makes setup much easier, fewer hotspots. Setup for me has been nearly effortless. I haven't had any hotspots right from the get-go. Ground screw right here. It is a Phillips head. Well placed, nice low screws, so it doesn't interrupt the flow dynamics within the vapor chamber or anything. The wick hole is a solid 3 millimeters, so it is a great sized wick hole. I've seen bigger, I've seen smaller, but 3 millimeters seems to be just perfect. And it is non-insulated, which isn't really an issue. The fill hole is 1.5 millimeters, so that's right around average. I believe it is the exact same size as the Genesis standard or any of the Z-Addies. Same as that wick hole, or fill hole, I should say. It fits a 16 gauge syringe nearly perfectly. That's that. Oh, no, it's a little bit larger than the Zens, I should say. Okay, then gonna get to the O-ring. Right here it is a adjustable throat hit top cap assembly. So the O-ring just slots right on, as you can see here. So you can line up the air hole wherever you want in relation to the wick. Personally, not a huge fan of the adjustable throat hit system. I would rather not be able to adjust the throat hit, have the air hole line up right over the wick, than to risk my top cap wobbling and sliding off. But to each his own, I guess, and it works beautifully. Then get to the tank itself. It does use a 5 milliliter fused quartz tank. It is the exact same tank that the Genesis standard uses. So you can literally buy a replacement fused quartz tank or stainless steel tank from iHybrid, or not iHybrid mods, House of Hybrids or 310 Vapors for the Genesis and use it with your iHybrid. So it's definitely a nice feature that the vendors have interchangeable parts. Makes getting replacements for these fused quartz tanks much easier. Another huge thing about the fused quartz, it will handle any juice, and as you probably noticed, I am running a full tank of fluid here. Obviously it is not going to crack the tank, and the fluid is notorious for tank cracking. Okay, next up, O-rings here on the tank. They do have a few different color options depending on the edition of the iHybrid you're running. So because it's the Hellraiser, it's red, rocking the red O-rings on there. Okay, next up, just below the O-rings, these threads here. That is for either the threaded tank cover, which is right here, or the thread cover ring. So show you the thread cover ring first. Now, I was a Katana V1 user, and I was always jealous of the Katana Limited owners for access to the thread cover ring. I think it is a really nice touch if you're not into the thread or the tank cover, and it is a stock feature with all of the iHybrids, and I think that is really slick on there. I like to be able to see my juice. I'm using a clear tank. Just looks great. That's that. And then for the tank cover, because this is a limited edition, the Hellraiser has these nice flame cutouts on there, which I think look really cool. They match perfectly with the whole Hellraiser motif. Slide that on. As you can see, threads nice and smooth. I should mention that the tank cover and tank ring are both aluminum, whereas the entire atomizer assembly from top to bottom is all stainless steel, with the exception of the positive contact, which is brass. I am a huge advocate of brass contacts in mechanical mods, and the way this device performs is a perfect example of the value of brass contacts, because this thing hits damn hard. I mean, of all of the hybrids I've used, this is bar none my favorite, I have to say. That's pretty much it for the full atomizer assembly, and again, to reiterate, the brass contacts. And then, actually, I guess one other little point is the way this is set up, you can actually perfectly fit a kick in there without any movement within it when you're changing batteries, which I don't think I've ever seen on a device before, and that's a cool little touch. I'm not a kick user personally, but for those of you that are, you could perfectly squeeze in a kick and an 18500 battery, and it would work beautifully. So really cool little touch there. Subtle, but makes, I would assume, a noticeable difference for those of you using the kick. So that's that. Alright, next up is the actual battery tube. And here I have the 18650 tube, and because this device is on loan from a friend, my good buddy Jamie J.C. West, and again to reiterate, just huge thank you to Jamie for sending this to me. In the top right corner I'm going to have a link to his channel and to subscribe to him. Awesome guy, does some great reviews, and again, a huge thank you to Jamie for sending me his iHybrid. It's just awesome, and my one beef there is that I'm going to have to dish out a couple $100 to get one for myself, but thank you so much, Jamie, much appreciated. So, back to the tube. This is the 18650 tube. The iHybrid does come with a 18350 tube as well. Now, this is the Hellraiser, so it does have this really slick little devil engraving, I guess, devil demon. Really not my style, the whole demon, devil, skull theme there, but when I first saw Fisty's renderings, and Fisty, who does all of the 3D renderings of the iHybrids before they're actually produced and released, is so fucking talented. Huge shout out to Fisty for just amazing work that they do. Some really cool stuff, and I believe Fisty does all of the art and all of the engraving work here for iHybrids, and just does some awesome work. So initially saw the rendering, thought, that's really slick, but it's not my thing, and now that I've had it, I desperately need to get myself my own iHybrid Hellraiser or another one of the LEs, because it's just awesome. I know Faceless, the manufacturer, does all of the actual manufacturing in-house, so I would assume that he also does his own laser engraving, and obviously he has a very, very high-end laser engraver, because these engravings are perfect. I mean, I'm a sucker for cool engravings, and this is no exception. Really cool. And in the center of the skull on the little demon's forehead is the iHybrid logo. So from a branding and marketing perspective, another really cool touch to integrate a little personal touch into the overall aesthetic motif there. Really cool. So the tube, it is made of aluminum. It is anodized. Now, if you notice here, the threads are anodized, and anodized aluminum will not conduct electricity, though, as you can see on the rim of each end of the tube, it is bare aluminum, and that is more than enough surface area to complete the circuit with the ground connection, and because it's aluminum, obviously is a great conductor. The full switch assembly is aluminum, and the battery tube is aluminum, so almost the entire ground connection is going to be nearly flawlessly conductive. I believe aluminum has an IACS rating of right in the ballpark of, I want to say 50%, which is significant. Gold has a IACS of 70 for reference, and stainless steel has an IACS of 17 to 25% depending on the grade, so aluminum, huge plus there. Overall construction, perfect. I mean, every thread, flawless. The anodizing job is absolutely beautiful. It has this really nice, perfectly even, level, horizontal grain to it running on the entire tube. And I'm really a sucker for polished finishes, but as far as matte finishes go, this is about as close to perfect as I could ask for. I mean, really nice, smooth, even. Has a nice sheen to it. So that's pretty much all that there is to be said about the tube. Okay, so here's the button of the iHybrid Hellraiser. So you can see here, first off, it does have the nice little pentagram there on the bottom, and it is inscribed with the iHybrid logo again. Now, this is the newest button revision to the iHybrid series. I know they've had some issues with their buttons in the past. This is the first iHybrid that I've reviewed, but this new button is it's awesome. I mean, it's totally pocket friendly, even though it doesn't actually have a lock. Now, if you notice, the button is totally recessed
when it's off of the mod. See, I can press it and there is no give there in the throw. So what it takes is when it's actually threaded in and there is pressure on this little white Delrin piece, it pushes the entire button housing down, including the contact, and when that's depressed, it raises the throw. So, just to show you, if I apply pressure here, and it increases the throw, and then when I press the button, then the contact raises. Perfect. I mean, so simple, but just so clever. It's just perfect. And as far as attention to detail, you can see he even cut off the edges of each little rim of the button, so there are no sharp, harsh points on there when you're actually using it. And though I do have fairly large hands, I've been able to use this really comfortably. If I do grab it at the wrong angle, it'll kind of agitate my skin a tiny bit, but just had, I guess, a little bit of a learning curve and a process learning curve, if you know what I mean. And now that I've keep dropping it, now that I've been using it for a couple of days, totally used to it, really comfortable. One of the better, if not best, bottom buttons that I've seen. Really nice touch. And full housing is aluminum, though the contact is brass, which is beautiful. Okay, next up I'm going to show you the full disassembled button. So, that's that. Alright, so here's the fully disassembled button, and right now I'll just show you each individual component. First off, here is the ground contact. It is a nice solid brass screw. Phillips head. That's that. Then white Delrin battery insulator here, and it does have that nice little bevel on the inside, the top half, and that is where your screw head sits. So when it's in, sits flush with the Delrin to give it that couple of millimeters of throw. Then you have your first spring. So first spring goes on just below the contact. Then here's the actual switch housing. As you can see here. This is the top end. Here's the inside, all aluminum again. Tolerances are relatively tight in the button, so your ground connection is actually made throughout the entire body of the housing rather than the springs, which is huge in my opinion. And subsequently it does fire 100% consistently. I haven't had any misfires. Awesome switch. I mean, I compared it to the Katana, I've compared it to the Zen earlier in this video, but the switch alone, it's frankly unjust to compare it to the Katana and the Zen, because this device just performs, in my opinion, so much better than either of those buttons, and really loving this switch so far. So that's that for the housing. Then we have one more spring, which slides onto the plunger and the actual switch. So here's the plunger. See the pentagram on the bottom here. So the way it all goes together, take this, just drop it on. So it goes contact, Delrin, spring, slough that on first, drop the spring on, sit the Delrin housing on there. It's kind of hard without knocking my camera over. You're gonna have to bear with me here. And we're good to go. So that is the full switch assembly.
Alright, so as you can see, overall construction, really solid. No real flaws in the machining to any extent. One other final little touch that I forgot to mention is that the air hole, it does line up with the wick and the cutout, and then subsequently the engraving on the top cap lines up with the other cutout and then the engraving at the bottom. So nice touch, because a lot of pre-planned foresight went into making sure all of those aspects line up and I believe it is the same case with the 18350 tube. And I think that's the only thing that I really forgot. But overall, extremely happy. Just awesome device. Yeah, if you're looking for a hybrid, this is definitely, I'd say, one of your best bets out there, really. And between currently produced items, discontinued items, just about everything out there, this is the best that I've tried yet. So definitely give it a look. Really solid device. Worth checking out. iHybridmods.com or 310vapors.com. $220. I know they do have a few other limited editions coming out in the near future, including the Candy Skull, which looks really cool. There's the Healer. It's a Native American themed PV, which might sound off-putting to some, but it actually looks really slick. Yeah, just about everything they've done, really, really cool. And, yeah, I guess that's all. I'll take last drag just for good measure and call this a review. Nice. All right, enjoy.